Hey guys, it's Adrienne for WDW Bound, and today, in the middle of the sweltering hot August, I'm going to talk about Halloween. As we know, Disney World announced that they will not be having the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Bash this year. However, bash party, you know what I mean. However, they will be having what they're calling a Boo Bash, which is kind of like a mix between what was the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and the after hours events that they were having in the past. So in the after hours events, the park stayed open its normal hours for the most part, and people with a special event ticket for the after hours event got in, and the park stayed open really, really late, usually until 1 or 2 a.m. We attended one of those at Hollywood Studios a few years back. Obviously, with my kids, we didn't make it until very, very, very late, but still enjoyed how empty the park was. So the Boo Bash is going to be, like I said, some sort of mash between the party and the after hours events, much in the same way. But that's actually not what I'm here to talk about today. What I wanted to talk about were different kinds of costumes, because the most fun part for my family, or at least in the planning aspect for my family for the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, was planning our family costumes. Now, I say that it was fun for the whole family, but really it was kind of my favorite part was planning what we were going to wear from year to year. So I wanted to talk about a couple of different things. The first are family costumes, obviously, because the first time I ever attended the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I attended with my family of 4, and we went through, and I'm not even kidding when I tell you this, I wish I still had a picture of it, but we went through this whole like bracket of ideas to narrow it down until we finally figured out what we as a family were going to end up going dressed as. And so for our very first one, we ended up going with a Star Wars theme. My husband was Han Solo, I was Princess Leia, my daughter was Rey because she's obsessed with Rey, and my son, who I think was 2 at the time, maybe 3, was dressed as BB-8. You'll notice in the pictures that I'm putting up that when we go dressed as a family, we don't really go like full on costumes. It's more like a Disney bounding type situation where you can tell who we are, but it's not a full on like costume situation. And we'll talk a little bit about more why we made that decision at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. Our second one, we went as Moana. So my husband was Maui. I was Tafiti. Yeah, that's her name, right? The goddess at the end. And my daughter obviously was Moana, and my son was Hey Hey, which was actually one of the nicknames that we give for him. And the third time we went as Emperor's New Groove. So my husband was Kronk, I was Yzma, my daughter. Oh, no. And then our kids dressed as the angel and the devil from, you know, that one scene in Emperor's New Groove where Kronk's trying to decide what to do. So we went with a whole Emperor's New Groove theme. But other ones that we've considered, obviously because my favorite animated film is Robin Hood, I've tried to talk them into Robin Hood. We've thought about Alice in Wonderland, you know, the Fab Five characters. We've thought about, you know, just a host of different things in the past. And this year, we're actually not attending the Boo Bash. We tried to work it out, but just with work schedules and whatnot, we just weren't able to make it happen. But I do have some super secret ideas for when we attend the 50th. So not really costumes, but again, kind of Disney bounding homage type situation. So I'm already kind of contemplating that a little bit too. Obviously, if you don't have kids and you are attending as adults, then you may want to do just some classic couple costumes. Of course, we've seen Minnie and Mickey, Donald and Daisy. We've seen, of course, like Goofy and Clarabelle Cow, all sorts of classic Disney couples. My favorites are like Hercules and, why am I blanking on her name? The girl from Hercules. You know what I'm talking about? Oh gosh, somebody in the comments, please tell me her name, because I know I'm gonna figure it out as soon as I finish recording this video, and it's gonna drive me insane. And then while we've been in the parks, we've seen some super unique costumes. We've seen people dressed as magic bands. We've seen people dressed as the Magic Band readers at the front of the park. We've seen people dressed as different attractions. Just so much thought and energy put into the costumes that people wear, and I just think it's really, really neat. I want to hear about you guys' costumes. If you've worn them, please post them on Instagram and tag me, or post them onto our Facebook page, or give me a link to it in the comments, just so I can see, because I'm always interested in seeing what other people wear. I just think people are so creative, and it's just so cool the amount of thought, like I said, and energy that people put into these costumes to wear, because it's very rare that adults get to wear costumes to the parks. So it's really, really cool what people end up doing. Some guidelines before I leave you. I do want to leave you with a couple of things to remember if you're thinking about dressing up for the Boo Bash, or for hopefully in the future the return of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, is to remember that Disney has guidelines. So still, you're going to not be able to wear masks, eye masks. We'll see about the face masks, obviously, for 2021. You can't, adult women or men cannot wear dresses that go to the floor, and that's put into place so that children don't see you and assume that you are Cinderella or you are Aurora. They don't want that sort of confusion, so that if you were to blow off a little kid, they didn't think that it was actually Cinderella or Aurora or something that was blowing them off or being rude. Not that you would be rude, but just to make sure that there's no confusion there. And then also, the thing that we really take into consideration is that it is hot. So please be mindful of the heat factor. I mentioned before that when we went to Star Wars, my husband dressed up as Han Solo. There was like a whole vest situation. It was hot. It was hot. And he was stripping layers before that was all over with. My kids, when we went as Rey, by the end of it, they were stripping layers because it's just so hot. Even in the evenings. We have gone to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween parties in August, and we've gone in September. I haven't been in October, but from my understanding, it's still pretty darn warm in Florida in October. So just be mindful of the heat. Some of the really elaborate costumes that we have thought about or considered, we've just kind of put a kibosh on, because knowing how hot it would be in Florida in that time of the year is just, it's not comfortable. And while it's fun and so cool to be dressed up like that, hey, editing me here. Something happened to this file, and I'm not sure what, but somehow it's gotten corrupted. So the last minute or so cut off. I don't know. It's never happened to me before, but here it is. So anyway, all I'm basically saying is make sure you're comfortable. Take all the environmental factors of Florida into account, and because you don't want to be hot or miserable or uncomfortable or scratchy. Think about your kids' costumes. You don't want them to be uncomfortable or scratchy either. So just take all that into account. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Please like or subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see y'all next time.